There are over 7 million people in India who have invested close to $1 billion in various cryptocurrencies. And they are quite nervous today because NDA government is planning to introduce a bill in the budget session of Parliament, and that may ban all private cryptocurrencies in India. This may also contain a framework for India's own digital currency. Since as of now, there's not much clarity about the fine print, the details are not out yet, there is a lot of confusion and concern among those who have invested heavily in various kind of cryptocurrencies that we have here in India. So what can you do? And should India just completely ban all cryptocurrencies? Let's find out on India Revival Mission on Times Network today. I'm Hina Gambhir, and joining me today is Mr. Subhash Garg, former Finance Secretary, who also headed a panel in 2019 which had actually suggested a ban on private cryptocurrencies in India. We also have with us Sumit Gupta, co-founder and CEO, CoinDCX. And we have with us Neeraj Bhagat, CA, and he's also an expert on cryptocurrency. Gentlemen, welcome to India Revival Mission. Mr. Garg, let me begin this discussion with you. In 2019, you recommended that there should be a blanket ban on cryptocurrencies. Do you still have the same opinion, or do you think probably ban is not what India needs?
See, in 2019, the government, the Reserve Bank of India, was primarily sort of concerned with the use of cryptocurrencies as currencies. Right. This was getting into the payment system. People were also investing as an asset, but primarily the medium of use of the available cryptocurrencies at that time was primarily as currencies. The currencies, as you know, are the official business. These are the legal tenders. These are issued by the government and the Reserve Bank or the central banks for that matter. And therefore, the committee was extremely concerned, and there were some evidences of its being misused, missold and all. And therefore, the group recommended sort of a complete ban on use of cryptocurrencies as currencies. The cryptocurrencies, as they have evolved, have other uses also. The cryptocurrencies are also becoming assets. The cryptocurrencies are now becoming a major technological platform for develop programs and deliver services digitally and all. Those were not the concerns of the committee. In fact, if you would see the report of that committee, the committee tried to convey that the use of the underlying technology, the blockchain technology, is an extremely promising one. And that should be encouraged by everyone, including the Reserve Bank, the SEBI and other regulators, for delivering financial services. So I would say that in 2019, the knowledge was not as complete or as much as it is today. And therefore, the part that the currency should be banned is something which I think is relevant even today. And even the cryptocurrency enthusiasts are increasingly accepting that it is not the currency which is the primary use, the cryptocurrencies, and therefore its alternatives as blockchain, as IT development platform, as for delivering services and all, is something that should be encouraged. So I think it should be revisited, but as cryptocurrencies as currency should continue to be banned.
So as an asset class, you think it should be allowed to continue, because there are so many people who have put in a lot of money and they are seeing value here, and across the world as well, cryptocurrencies is something that people are really interested in and putting money into. Let's also hear the views, the concerns in the minds of the investors of these cryptocurrencies as we speak, because still there's no clarity on what eventually the government will be doing.
Right, Hina, as you pointed out, the drafts, the content of the draft bill is not known to anyone yet, and we don't know what is there inside. Primarily, it looks like this draft bill, if passed, will ban all sort of crypto assets, including Bitcoin and Ethereum. And that's why a lot of people who have invested their hard-earned money in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other crypto assets are concerned. They don't know what to do with that. If any such bill gets passed, people might be forced to sell their holdings, because right now the bill or the draft bill doesn't classify crypto as currencies or crypto as assets. I think that definition has to be very clear. Number one, as Mr. Garg rightly pointed out, the bill was made considering Bitcoin as currency, whereas the use of it as a currency is exponentially decreasing over time. And globally, companies like Tesla, MicroStrategy, PayPal are considering Bitcoin as an asset class, a new emerging asset class where people are parking their capital for a store of value, hedge against inflation, and that is growing exponentially. So things have been changing. The technology have been moving really fast. Just that right now investors are not sure a blanket ban would lead them to liquidate their holdings, which they are also very concerned about. People in India, we are not talking about few lakhs, we're talking about millions of people who want to continue to invest in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other crypto assets. And they are right now seeking clarity from the government how they can continue to invest in that, what are the taxes they need to pay in the absence of guidelines, in the absence of regulations, how should they continue to invest in Bitcoin. I think these are some of the major questions that we are seeing from our users. And I think the clarity of recognizing Bitcoin, Ethereum as an asset class is something that needs to be clear. And as I strongly feel that the bill has not classified explicitly Bitcoin as a currency or as a asset class. I think this needs to be revisited, and Bitcoin should be regulated as an asset class in the country.
Okay. Mr. Neeraj Bhagat, has the industry reached out to the government with the kind of concerns that Mr. Sumit Gupta has raised?
You see, as of now, since the bill is not out, so there is no question of reaching out. But I think once the bill is out, then definitely there will be suggestions from the industry.
Any kind of discussions with the stakeholders, people in this industry and the government, because we are getting several reports now which are suggesting that there could really be a blanket ban that could actually come, because RBI is expected to come out with its own digital currency too.
Banning the currency totally would not serve the purpose. I think regulating the currency would definitely serve the purpose. Because if you ban the currency totally, then of course there will be other repercussions on that, because almost, as you rightly said, the 7 million people who have invested, and there is almost an investment of $1 billion in that. And when you see the other countries in the West, almost the US and other developed countries, they already have the regulations in place. So because the major concerns of the governments across the globe, they are to regulate that there are no illegal activities on this cryptocurrency. So their concerns are money laundering, counterterrorism. So ultimately, the US also and other developed countries, so they have regulated the currency. There are KYC norms for that. And I think for India as a country, because it's a developing country and a lot of countries across the globe, so they see India as a growing economy. So I think the banning the currency would not serve the purpose. Regulating the currency definitely would take a long way in emerging India as a growing economy and going along with the global developed players. So I think my request and my suggestion would be to regulate that instead of totally banning that currency.
Okay. Mr. Garg, what should be the correct approach in a situation like this? Can we have regulation by the RBI for the existing cryptocurrencies that are there, or you think, a new digital currency that RBI is expected to come out with is going to replace this private cryptocurrency ecosystem that we have right now?
See, what is needed now is to understand the cryptocurrency phenomenon more clearly. In fact, in my judgment, there are different aspects of it. Currency is one, asset is another. The blockchain or cryptocurrencies as technological platform is another dimension. These being used for delivering services, organizing databases and other things is another aspect, right? So a clarity should develop that what is what, and then what is desirable to be allowed, regulated, should be desirably regulated. For example, asset, the cryptocurrencies as an asset, is probably, though it's a risky kind of thing, because there are cryptocurrencies are also of different hues and colors, so to say. Some are purely speculative, risky assets. Some of them have very good underlying values, etc. But that be let it be what it is. If people are interested in even investing in risky assets, that can be considered with appropriate regulation and all. So, in my judgment, cryptocurrencies as assets should be defined very clearly and then regulated.
Okay, it's a very valid point that you've made, Mr. Garg. But my concern now is about the issue of digital frauds. Is India ready to allow this kind of an ecosystem for cryptocurrencies? Because so many digital frauds are still happening as far as this digital literacy is concerned. I mean, slowly and gradually India is working towards it. But is India as a country ready to allow something like this?
See, this is a difficult space. It's an evolving space. It's an entirely new ecosystem, so to say, and therefore it's not easy. But that doesn't mean that we should not develop expertise, ability to do that regulation. You can't throw the baby with the bathwater. You can't allow the promise of this big technology to simply not be available to the country. We gained quite a lot in 99 and when the 2YK problem and other things came and IT services expanded. Though we did not capitalize very much on the hardware part and the programmatic part, but on the IT services we capitalized quite a lot. Now the blockchain technology is offering you that enormous big space for next 30 years, 40 years or 50 years. Now you can't allow this promise to be completely gone away. So I think we should invest in developing knowledge, developing regulation, and take care of see that this ecosystem develops holistically. An Indian brain, the technologist which we have, that is enormously gifted and is rightly in a position to capitalize on it, create jobs for the country, create wealth for the country. That is what we should be creating today.
Mr. Sumit Gupta, according to you, what should be the right approach to fulfill, what Mr. Garg has explained to us, so that India also doesn't miss the bus? Because this is an asset class where the world is seeing a lot of value today, and India shouldn't really be left behind in case of a complete ban, with Tesla also investing so much of money into Bitcoin. I mean, this is something that India needs to take seriously. So what should be the right approach?
Sure. Hina, so first of all, we need to understand that crypto assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum are not supposed to be a legal tender. They are not supposed to replace INR. They are not supposed to hurt our existing payment systems. They are more like a asset class which people want to invest in for store of value. That's what is happening globally. Companies like Tesla, MicroStrategy are investing billions of dollars in Bitcoin because they feel that it is a good asset to have as part of their portfolio. Now, what needs to be done right now is to first have a very clear distinction of these cryptocurrencies. As currency is one part of it. That is where CBDCs will come into picture. That has to be heavily under RBI or the central bank. They should control it. The second part is identifying crypto as an asset class, right? Which is where right regulation needs to come in. And this is where government can come up with a committee or a body which will regulate cryptocurrency as an asset class and can clearly put a layer that, okay, these are the crypto, which we identify as an asset class, and these are tradable. These are the asset classes where Indians can invest in. It might not be 100 or 1,000 to begin with. Even if it's few, it's good because Indians are not losing out then. And then the third part is the utility part, where there are people who are developing decentralized applications on top of protocols like Ethereum, where it's the utility within the ecosystem. And that is where a lot of technological aspects will come into picture. That has to be regulated. So I think right now what we are doing is looking all of that from a same lens, we need to distinguish it, separate the currency part, regulate it differently. That is where government is already working on. CBDC will play a huge role in that. The second part, which is Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrency, the asset, that has to be flourished, that has to be allowed, because Indians should not be left behind while the rest of the world is investing in Bitcoin and having it as a part of their portfolio. And the third, in the technology side, that is where government need to flourish or even incentivize people to build some things in the field of blockchain technology, right? And that is what is needs to be very clear, and has to be properly segmented and regulated manner depending upon how we are treating them as.
Okay. Mr. Neeraj Bhagat, I want to understand from you, because these are the kind of options that the government can consider, but still there is a possibility that a blanket ban could come for all private cryptocurrencies in India. So we all need to be prepared for that. So what happens to the 7 million plus investors that we have in this particular market? What will really happen to their investment? There are certain reports indicating that some kind of a transition period will be given to them. What would really that mean? How will it really work?
See, if the ban comes, then definitely there would be an exit period for that, 3 to 6 months of time given to the investors to withdraw. But what I feel is that the investors who have invested huge amount, they will definitely challenge that order in the court, and they would definitely challenge the ban. And definitely, that would not be a good sign for India, because when you see the Luxembourg and other countries, so as Mr. Garg rightly said, that the underlying technology behind it, the blockchain technology, so that should be promoted. So the Luxembourg has created the ecosystem for that to develop the technology. And if the India totally bans this cryptocurrency, then of course India would lag behind in the technology which is being developed in the world. And I think the banning totally would not be a solution. And if it happens that totally ban is happening, then of course it could be not good for India, because people will find other sources of investment, and that would not be good for India. So I think the ban would, of course, there would be an exit period for 3 to 6 months, but that should not be good for India. It should be regulated, not totally banned.
Okay. Mr. Garg, what is your opinion on this report now suggesting that, some kind of a transition period will be given to the investors? But my point is, if, for example, a ban is announced on the cryptocurrencies, then suddenly the value is going to go down drastically, and these people will actually lose a lot of money. So how will this transition period mechanism really work if indeed we get a ban?
See, I don't think everything in the cryptocurrency space should be banned. The government, and we are looking for the bill to come up to see what exactly is the way the cryptocurrency is defined. If the government is able to define the cryptocurrencies strictly as the currencies, the legal tender part, and bans it, I don't think there would be any problem. But if it ends up banning crypto assets and the underlying technology, that would be a disaster. And that should
give us some inside details, Mr. Garg, because you've been in the government. What is the mindset really, approach really, as far as the cryptocurrency is concerned within this government?
No, I am not in the government any longer.
When you were there, you understand, what is the view really towards cryptocurrency. So why don't you tell us which way could it really go?
If I can guess, I think the real concern with the Reserve Bank and the government has is only about currencies, right? In 2019, we also struggled, and I think we wrongly defined the cryptocurrencies in a very larger sense. Though we intended to get the technology part separated and say that is to be encouraged, but it's not captured very well in the definitions, right? And the provisions which are there. So in my judgment, the government shouldn't hurry up in banning everything in the name of cryptocurrency. But if it is able to very strictly define the currencies part and ban it, then it can go ahead. And in that case, there would not be a ban on, to my mind, into the crypto coins like Ethereum or Bitcoin and others. And therefore, that ban would be on probably some fly-by-night operators and currencies which are trying to misuse or make sort of gains, or using the flaws in the system today. So I don't think we should be worried. We shouldn't also prejudge. Let us see how the law is how the law draft comes up.
All right, so we need to wait and watch for this bill to come, because as of now, it's only reports which are suggesting that there could be a blanket ban on private cryptocurrencies in India. But we'll have to wait for the final bill to come, which is expected in the current session of Parliament. Thank you very much, gentlemen, all of you, for joining us here on India Revival Mission.